Intentional means not masking. So when you do anything with intention or with intent, that's when you have to understand what are you trying to get out of it, right? That's where people ask, is the intent have malice or is it intentful with grace? So when I ask people, are you being intentional? It means don't mask. You don't need to pretend to be something that you're not. You don't need to try to talk a certain way or walk a certain way or dress a certain way or even believe the same things that I believe. Speak your truth so that I can see who you genuinely are, right? That is the point of being intentional. There are some people who intentionally try to be maliceful because they feel so hurt that they only know how to go deep and dig and go for other people's pain because it gives them a sense of power. Versus somebody who is being intentional with grace and they understand that, listen, I can see that there's something you're going through or there's something that I'm going through. And even if our intentions are the purest, right now, they're not meeting at the same purpose point, right? That's intention to me. So if I'm going into intentional dating, then I'm going into a situation knowing that it's going to become some type of ship, friendship, relationship, kinship, whatever, right? That's the point of making connections with people. So instead of going into connections, masking, pretending, faking, this is where you see people who go into subcultures. I say subcultures are things that are based on demographics alone. No hate to anyone, but this is like people who only wear athletic gear or people who only dress in golf and stuff like this, or only dress in hip hop, whatever you want to call it, attire. The point is that that is a costume for some people. That's why it's so easily consumable by the mass because they can just put it on like a costume and they can portray that energy. That's why it's a false sense of what an avatar is because when you understand what an avatar is, it's again, it's an archetype. It's saying that I represent this energy. So if you're going to put on a bunch of clothes and colors and voices that don't represent you, and then you go out into the world and wonder why people don't receive you the way you want to be received, or you're being treated the way you don't want to be treated, that's the point of it. I'm not saying that it's okay for people to be judgmental or try to be condescending because of how you look or dress or act or talk, but if you're putting on a uniform or a mask that is not who you intentionally want to be from the inside going out, not from people looking at you. Again, this is what we say, don't focus on how others feel about you. How do you feel about you? Because then when you know how you feel about you, you will represent that energy. And if someone tries to come at you, you can either interact or not react, but you'll know that they're not going to knock you off your throne because your throne is where you put yourself, not someone else. So, intentional dating means when I'm going into a situation and I'm saying, let's say, do I want to be this person's friend? Do I want to be in a relationship with this person? I don't know yet. That's where time will come in and consistency. But you, as the person interacting with another human being or interacting with other energies, have to know what your intent is. I want friendship. So if you're going into a connection wanting friendship, state that. I want friendship. That's important to me right now. That means that's an intentional connection right there, and you're letting that person know what you need and require so that they don't feel like, do they want to be my friend? Do they like me? I don't know. Again, like emotions develop. So you can become romantic with someone later, but the basis of all connections should be some level of kinship, friendship, right? This person has my back. I have their back. I can talk to them without judgment. They can talk to me without judgment. That's the reciprocal part. That's intentional dating because now you're not trying to just say, oh, you like this? I like this. Or you want to do that? I want to do that because you just want something else from them, right? That's ill intent. If you only want something like sex or just their emotional energy and you're not trying to give anything back to them, that's ill intent, right? Intentional energy is knowing that I have something to give. I also want something in return, but I'm doing it from a place of balance, not from a place of taking or draining. There's always going to be a dualistic part to all things, right? I said before, there's intentional where you can intentionally want to do something and you can intentionally have malice for something as well. Well, you can also have ill intent to do something, but you can also do something that has an ill intent byproduct and you didn't mean for that to happen. But if you don't care enough to understand why it happened after it happened, then it's ill intent. So if you didn't follow that, that's okay. It'll catch up to you later. The point is, when you are interacting in any type of new energies or old, your question to yourself is, am I being intentional? Am I being authentic? Am I saying what I really feel? Do I feel comfortable to say what I really feel? Because if you don't, you shouldn't have that connection, or at least you shouldn't be catering to that connection and giving it energy that it doesn't deserve if you yourself are not being reciprocal of that person's energy or the point in life of where they are. Because if you're saying I don't have space for you, that's all it is. It's not saying that that person isn't a good person or you're not worthy. It's just saying I don't have space for you right now. So when you're being intentional, you can say, listen, I like you. I'm vibing with you. This is a good connection. I also just need to make space for me as well. And as we get to know each other and we're intentional and we're letting each other know what we want from each other via conversation, texting, making arrangements to see each other, whatever that might be, that makes it feel like, okay, this person cares enough at least to let me know, hey, here's where I stand in life right now for me, and I have space for you to do so. I would rather someone tell me that than be emotionally unavailable, masked, pretending they want something from me. Then you get in a relationship with them and then find out months later, well, this isn't what I really want. I was just saying that because you were masking. And so this is why we say be honest about where you are in life. Don't try to hide what you're going through. Express your emotions, express your thoughts. Make sure that you're a balanced person so that when you speak, again, you're not ever going to be even keel, but you have to be balanced within, which means if you know that you're a reactionary person, work on responses, work on how to walk away from something and just receive the information and respond later and not saying it in that moment. If you're a person who's only responsive and you have no reaction, okay, well, that's fine. Just let people know around you that you care about them, because sometimes when you have no reaction to things that people around you care about, they start believing that you're detached, and then it feels that they're masking, then they start masking, and it's unintentional. And I know that that happens, but intent is a double-edged sword. This is why I say know the duality of all, understand the polarity to all. There's always going to be a reflectionary point where something looks exactly like the same thing, but it's the opposite. And then there's going to be the point where it's completely opposite, and you can tell that these two things are not like the other, but they can work together, they can go together. So when you understand how to be intentional with your actions and your emotions and your thoughts, when you go into any connection, especially relationships that are romantic, then it makes the dating process much easier and smoother versus you masking and pretending and acting like someone that you're not, and then expecting results some way inside of your little world. Oh my God, I'm getting attention. I'm getting to what I think I want. And then when that person's like, I'm not in this anymore. I don't want this. You're like, what happened? You were faking the whole time. You were never being who you truly were meant to be. You were never authentically your own energy. So take it into consideration when people say, I am dating intentionally. They're saying, I don't have to date you. I don't need to date, but I want to have an energy in my space that I can share this time and space with. Because we are human avatars. This time and space for us will end one day. So understanding how to work with your physical world as well as your spiritual world of emotions and thoughts, then you start understanding that, okay, I can't just go out here in any behavior and expect to get what I want if I'm not doing the intentional work to be honest and authentic about myself. That's going to call in what you deserve and what you require. And that's what they say. You don't have to be completely healed, but don't be an open wound gashing it everywhere and just picking at the same scab and never taking care of it. Heal, clean it, take care of it. Let people know I'm working on it. I'm getting clean. It's okay. I don't expect you to help, but if you do, that's wonderful. And then together, you get more space and time to be like, oh my gosh, now I understand what it means to be intentional when I go into a relationship. And then when you have someone, you respect them more because you know that you did the work to be there and not just showed up. I love you.